Hi, this is Greg McCoach, editor of the Mining Speculator. We're here in Toronto, Canada at the Metals Investor Forum. Today I'm doing interviews, and first up is Chris Huggins, CEO of C2C Gold Corp. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Glad to have you.
Very excited to be here.
Yeah, and of course my subscribers know that I've had C2C as a recommendation since inception, and we've already done well with it, and we just were presented with a great buy opportunity at 3 cents.
100%.
Now we went up to almost 26 cents,
Yes.
pulled back to about 17 cents.
Yep.
So, it's a mover. We have things happening, part of which is the injection of the Melinda uranium project into C2C Gold.
Exactly. And it's actually been a bit more of a, we've been building a lot of things in the background for the past 6 months to get to this place where we are today. Initially started with staking the Corridor project in Newfoundland, which has uranium showings in similar sandstone formations to what we're seeing in Utah and Arizona. So that was the first piece that we staked, kind of putting breadcrumbs in mid-2003. We were then working to change the name of the company. We're now C2C Metals.
Right.
Kept the same ticker. All the while looking through databases of historical uranium assets that have been kind of neglected and put in mothballs for the past 40 years. And very pleased to have staked the Melinda project, which enjoyed 375 drill holes over between 78 and 1980, and was forgotten about for 40 years. And we're excited to get to drilling.
Yes, and of course we were just on a Q&A session with people, attenders, investors who had questions for you and others on the panel. But I thought one of the points that you made was the fact that, with Bill Sheriff as chair,
Yes.
he has such an amazing database of
100%.
properties in the U.S. and elsewhere, and that, this move into uranium is very good, very, very well healed, given that we're in a uranium bull market, confirmed, and probably going to be so for many years to come, in my view.
Absolutely. And that's the piece where, Bill has obviously done extraordinary work over the past 15 plus 20 years in the uranium space. Now with Encore Energy, its focus on ISR projects.
Yeah.
With C2C, our focus is going to be on conventional projects. There's another company, Nuclear Fuels, which is focused on ISR with Encore. But we believe there's a huge opportunity in conventional projects that should be easy to advance, easy to develop, easy. It's relatively speaking, hopefully, in jurisdictions that are favorable towards mining, towards bringing these projects in areas that have had tremendous historical uranium production.
Absolutely. Bill's got the best of the best database available.
And so I'll be spending some time digging through crates and sea cans, going through folders, trying to find the next gems. And that's why we've got Doug Underhill as our chief geoscientist, who has almost half a century of uranium expertise to help lead the charge, identify projects, and get us moving as quickly as we can.
It's quite exciting.
Yep.
Like I said, let's talk a little bit about the uranium bull. Why it's it was long in coming. It's finally here.
Yep.
And I was early, and I was involved with Encore Energy at 10 cents.
Right.
So
Congratulations.
All my subscribers are happy. But now here's another chance. Bill switches gears as he often does, and I always follow him wherever he goes because he's made me so much money.
Right.
And it's nice to have a guy like you on board now to help him because he's got his fingers in so many pies, right?
Yep.
And he's managing a lot. So it's going to be fun to watch. But where do you see uranium? Because I see it as not just a flash in the pan bull market for a year or so. I see it as a decade-long situation.
It's going to be part of our new energy future. The fossil fuel energy production that the U.S., mostly in the U.S. and China, I think they're building 34 nuclear reactors. Yeah. They're getting off coal very quickly. U.S. needs to get off coal and gas, and one of the nice things about these kind of power stations is that there's a baseline demand of energy that we need to kind of keep the lights on.
Yeah.
Solar and wind are phenomenal, but they have peaks and valleys and dependent on environmental conditions. But there's a baseline backbone that's required, and nuclear is a green energy. It's a green energy solution.
It's the way of the future.
100%.
If we want
Yes.
consistent, large baseload power generation,
Yep.
you can't get that with solar. Solar's cool, wind
That's right.
energy's cool, but it's
Then
not
you need large.
scalable. Like
Then you need
nuclear.
long duration energy storage systems,
Right.
which lithium ion scale to a certain point, but there are limits within
Right.
that system. Next generation battery technologies like vanadium redox batteries are exciting, but they're big,
Yeah.
unwieldy systems,
Yeah.
and it's expensive.
Right. And I like what's happened is that, compared to the 70s style nuclear reactor, these new reactors are so much more fail-safe than they were ever designed previously. And not only do you have the big, nuclear plants, but now you have these small, which I think are going to be just amazing to help developing countries, in
It's-
smaller outlying areas for the baseload power needs that they have.
It's the modular nuclear plants absolutely are going to be key in the development of nuclear. Large systems like we have, like the Bruce plant here just outside of Ontario, it's a monumental structure,
Yeah.
but it's not cost effective to produce and to build that kind of a system anymore.
No.
We need to be smarter, we need to be smaller, we need to be more efficient, and put the power where it's needed in the communities that need it.
And these small scale plants just fit the bill for me.
100%.
It just makes so much more sense.
In Canada, we're blessed to have a lot of hydropower, but there's huge parts of the world that don't have the hydro
Right.
resources that we do. Canada will never be necessarily a large nuclear generating country, but our neighbors to the south absolutely will be.
Yeah, absolutely. I always remember the statistic. I can't remember exactly, so don't quote me on this, but Canada has so much of the fresh water on planet Earth resides within the borders of Canada. It's a big number. I forget what it is, but it's very large.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky to have the hydropower, but the rest of the world, absolutely nuclear needs to be part of our future.
It's definitely going that way. And
100%.
it's so much safer, and I think more and more people, even the green people, are saying, hey, there's no other way to do this other than through nuclear. So,
Yep.
I mean, in big scale.
It's the risk mitigation, the safety systems that have been put in place, the developments on how to manage the waste. The volume of waste that's produced is minimal. I mean, there are concerns, and we need to address that for sure. But the upside, the power of a cubic centimeter of uranium is equivalent to a barrel of oil.
Right.
Its energy density is astronomical.
Yes, absolutely. And
Yep.
it's the way of the future. So any other final comments before we close out? I just think C2C is well poised because they've adjusted. They have great gold assets still that I think will come into play eventually
100%.
once gold goes, and that could happen at any moment either. Wouldn't it be fun to have a uranium bull market and a gold bull market going on at the same time for a company like C2C Metals?
We'd go through a lot of growth very quickly, which I would be very excited about. I'm really looking forward to the new. Obviously, Melinda is a focus for us now. We're working on getting permits in place. Look to be drilling this year. There's other properties that are being evaluated. We'll be looking to include more assets into the portfolio and have I think a really compelling story to share in a couple of months once we've got some
Absolutely.
results for you.
Well, listen, Chris,
Great. Thank you
thanks
so
for
much.
being here.